If you want to feel more calm, confident, and connected in your life, the Love Your Real Life membership is for you. Members love the simple daily challenges that help create small, consistent actions that lead to the change that they want. And then the live sessions that are throughout the month that leave them feeling grounded, relaxed, and supported. There's a link in the show notes to join. I would love to see you inside of this membership. Welcome to the Love Your Real Life podcast. I'm Faith Lauterbach, and this is a space to help you heal, rebuild, and create a life you truly love, even if it looks different than you imagined. Each week, I'll be sharing tools, encouragement, and real conversations about what it means to move forward after betrayal, heartbreak, or simply life not going as planned. I am honored to walk alongside you and help you love your real life. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. This episode airs on Monday, December 29th of 2025. And what's so cool about this week is half of it is in 2025 and half of it is in 2026. So what a great opportunity to take a moment for reflection. And I'm so excited to walk you through this. Reflecting is one of my favorite things to do, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so in today's episode, we are going to talk about why it's important to reflect and review. And we're also going to go into how to do it to help and not hold you back. Sometimes when we reflect, it can bring up judgment for ourselves. And I like to instruct and guide people to release that judgment and to approach it from a place of curiosity. And then, once we have this information, what are we going to do with it? So before we get into this, I'm going to just have a moment of mindfulness. So I'd love you to join in with this. If you are not driving and in a place that you can close your eyes, feel free to do that. If not, you can just listen to the words. Okay, so taking a deep breath in slowly through your nose and exhaling through your mouth, allowing yourself to relax and just let go of any tension, soften your shoulders. And as you settle into this space, bring awareness to the present moment. Really feel the sensation of your breath as it enters and leaves your body. Notice the calm rise and fall of your chest, the gentle rhythm of your breath. Let your mind gently drift back to the beginning of 2025. Maybe see what moments, events, experiences stand out to you. Recall both the highs and the lows, the challenges and the triumphs. And as you reflect, acknowledge the emotions that might arise with these memories. Allow yourself to feel gratitude for the positive moments and accomplishments. Embrace any feelings of joy, love, or fulfillment that might arise as you revisit these memories. And similarly, if there were moments of difficulty or challenge, approach them with compassion. Recognize the strength and resilience within you that helped you navigate those times. Consider what lessons you may have learned and how you have grown from those experiences. As you bring your awareness to the present moment, envision yourself releasing any lingering tension or negativity associated with this past year. Picture it dissolving and being carried away with each exhale. Taking a few more deep breaths and slowly bringing yourself back to the present moment. We're going to let the energy from this reflection just carry into this time together in this podcast and as we create what we want for this coming year. If you did have your eyes closed, go ahead and open them up. And now I'm going to talk about why it's important to look back with intention. Reflection is a very underutilized tool, in my opinion. It's a piece to planning that most people miss. The first reason why know it's so important is reflection helps you gain insight into personal and professional growth. Without the reflection, we miss the lessons that we have learned and the lessons into ourselves, why we do the things we do, how things go. Patterns are so important. Reflections allow us to celebrate our wins. Celebrating wins, small and big ones, are so important and needed. We need to take that time to honor what we accomplished. And reflection is such a great way to do that. The third thing is we learn from and move forward from the challenges. But if we don't take the time to reflect, we may miss the learning piece. The fourth thing is to experience gratitude. It's easy to let the good things fade away, right? A lot of times our minds are just programmed to see the negative. And so taking time to express and reflect in gratitude allows for more abundance in our life. And the fifth reason why reflecting is so important is because it helps us to create a future that we want. So it helps us to set the stage for planning what's next. Okay, so here we are. Let's do this reflection piece. So you can get out a pen and paper, or I do have a guide, a PDF guide in the show notes that you are welcome to download to have a template to go through as we do this. All right. So, a couple ways to go about this. I feel like you can do this a few ways, and you pick what works best for you, like always. Some tools that can help you in this process is having your camera roll available and your calendar from this year. What I did is, so I did some reflecting on 2025 already. And what I did is I actually pulled up a Google sheet and I made a column for each month. And as I went through my calendar and my camera roll, um, I would put in my camera roll like January 2025 and pull up all the pictures from that month. And then I would go through and I would kind of bring out the highlights, the things of like, and I can't tell you how many things happen. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even remember that happened. I thought that was the year before, or I have no memory of it. So it can be a great way to really bring to focus the things that happened this year. So you could pause this and go ahead and do that for each month, or you can do it with each of these questions. Just see what feels best for you. Okay. The first question is, what are your proudest achievements from 2025? So maybe it is some travel, a new job, started a new routine or habit. Maybe you got a promotion at work. Maybe you moved. I know as I went through my camera rolling calendar, I saw a lot of patterns of things that I'm really proud of. Some routines that I really made priorities and consistency in. Um, I saw the things that I created that were energizing to me, and could see I did more of those things as the year went on. Um, I did some reflection each week. I started doing a weekly reflection on Sundays, and it really helped me to bring to light more energizing moments. One of the things that I wanted in 2025, my word was clarity. And I'm able to see as I look through all of these things how I really made that happen in this year. There were so many things that I got clear on through every aspect, personally and professionally. And it is really cool just to kind of look back and see how those things came to life. I did backpacking adventure with my backpacking group. This is our third annual backpacking trip. And each year of those, I learned so much about myself. I got QuickBooks for my business this year, which that maybe sound like a weird thing to be excited about, but it has helped me so much in being able to create like a P&L. And again, going back to clarity, uh, going into 2025, I had a lot of frustrations in processes, I guess. A lot of things where it's like, I didn't feel really clear in a lot of areas. And in my business being one of them, I got very clear in my purpose, who I serve. And again, just kind of looking at that life through pictures and through the calendar events. I'm really proud of the fact that I made a lot of connections that I wanted to make in the year, putting priority on spending time with people. Um, we had a lot of travel, and also my husband was out of town a lot in 2025. He had to travel for the Army National Guard. Uh, let's see. It ended up being, I think, 12 weeks. I think it was gone 12 weeks, and most of that was at the first half of the year ish. So that felt really heavy to me at the beginning of the year, knowing all of that was coming up. And I feel like it was such a learning process for me, and I grew a lot, and I was just really proud of the way that I showed up and brought awareness. And even when I had some hard times during that, I felt like I learned so much. During those times that he was gone, like everything, not everything, but a lot of things that could have gone wrong in our home went wrong. Things that I wouldn't normally handle on a day to day basis, I was in charge of managing. So I got a lot of confidence in ways that I didn't have before. So that felt really, really good. So I kind of went on there. um, Part of that is just like helping me process those things, but also maybe give you some ideas. If you want to pause here and work on your own proudest achievements from 2025, feel free to. The second thing is, what were some of the challenges that you faced this year? So in 2025, as I look back, again, I do a lot of documenting with pictures. I take pictures of a lot of things. One of the reasons is because it really does help me remember moments. Um, so some of the things that I'm most proud of were things that were challenging, right? Like my husband being gone for a lot of weeks, handling some household things. I also had a really bad case of tennis elbow at the beginning of the year, and it was very hard. It affected pretty much everything I do, and I really don't like having to slow down the things I'm doing. Maybe you can relate to that, but I had to, and I had to adjust things, and I had to be patient. Also, you know, again, with that kind of year of clarity, there were some partnerships, there were some relationships, other things that I just got really clear on that I can be a yes person, saying yes. I don't, I have some people pleasing tendencies that I feel like I've worked on that a lot, but they kind of rear its head up sometimes. And so I had some of that come up where I could really be aware and move on in ways that felt really good, that I needed, right? Like so that I'm not putting time and energy into places that just don't feel in alignment with me. And that can be really hard for me to do. Just trying to see if anything else came up as big challenges. I think, being a business owner, if anybody else out there is, there's just so many things, especially being a solopreneur. So I feel like that can be really challenging and hard. You don't have a quote unquote boss that's keeping you accountable to things. And so you have to really be, what I found is I have to be really intentional about kind of wearing different hats and showing up in those different roles. And so that can be a really big challenge. And I have found that to be a challenge for me in my business. And so those are mine. feel free to pause here, write in yours. I hope that me kind of verbally processing mine helps you to find some ideas. Okay. The next thing is, what important lessons did you learn from these challenges? Okay. So here's the beauty in taking time to do this is when you pause and you think about your challenges and then what are the lessons that came from them? That's when we can release this idea that there's failure. Because if we can grow and learn from challenges when things don't go right, then there are no failures. It's all about learning and growing. And it's easy to look at challenges and think, why did this happen to me? And what I found is flipping that question and changing it to, why is this happening for me? That simple change of one word, man, there's so much growth in that. So, what important lessons did you learn from these challenges that you faced? And so, again, for me, as I look through my calendar and my photos, when I look at the challenges, I can see how much growth that I had from these places. So, like I said, my tennis elbow, I learned patience. Um, from my husband being out of town, I learned how to do a lot of things that I didn't know how to do. And I also just learned that I can be on my own and be okay. And I think that's so important, right? It's good for us to have that solitude and to not be scared of it. You know, in those challenges, relationships, partnerships that I was able to really reflect on and see weren't working for me, I think the lesson in those and the thing that I'm learning now is to recognize those things earlier and to shift much quicker than I used to. For the sake of people pleasing, in the past, I would stay in relationships or stay in experiences or doing something that I did not want to be doing or be in, or were not in alignment with who I actually was. And there are several things that happened this year that I was able to shift much sooner and release those and to find myself in such greater connection of things that feel real and true to me. So for me, that is the big lesson is, man, those moments aren't always easy. Those conversations aren't fun to have when you know you're going to be disappointing somebody. But when you show up for yourself and stand up for what you believe in and shift and move in ways where you are in alignment to your values, that makes such a big difference. And I think that is a big lesson I had from this year of clarity, which was, like my word of the year. Really like leaning into that helped me so much in today. I feel like I'm in such a better place of being where I need to be. Um, so that was really cool. That was a big lesson in this year. All right. If you need to pause, write yours down, and then come back when you're done. The next thing is going to be, in what ways have you grown personally this year? Are there specific skills or qualities, habits, patterns you developed that are helping you? And I think what I have learned as I look back on my year is finding a gym that I really enjoy has been really helpful. Making time for planning out my meals and exercise for the week has been really, really helpful. Making sure that I have the space for my morning routine, and that's where I do a short meditation and journal. When I make that happen, which I do the majority of the time, it makes such a difference in my day. I again feel like personally just learning how to gently set boundaries and just be more comfortable with who I am and what I need and just like realizing, I think this has like been this slow realization of my needs are important and I need to value them so that other people value them. So, um there was a lot of that happened this year that really needed to happen for me. Personally, I worked a lot on connecting with friendships this year and making that time a priority because the friendships that I have in my life are so important to me. And I'm just so grateful for them. And so, really, like taking time and setting specific times for me to get together with the different groups of women in my life has been really important. Personally, spending as much time as I can with my kids and my grandkids um, has been so much fun and so important to me. So, anyways, those are some of the things that I feel like I have had personal growth this last year. So, feel free to pause and fill yours out. The next thing is going to be professional growth. So, this could be if you have your own business or just more relating to your job. But in what ways have you grown professionally? And what are specific things that have happened because of it? So, this year, again, going back to this year of clarity for me, professionally, that impacted a lot of things. I really shifted my business kind of focus and mission to being helping women to create a life that they love, even when things haven't gone as planned. And doing that through coaching, through my membership, through my podcast, through yoga, and bringing that focus to the top of my business. Man, that's just felt so good. It feels so in alignment. And specifically helping people, again, in life not going as planned, and especially with somebody who has experienced infidelity in a previous or their current or previous relationship. Um, Helping people when maybe they've gone through divorce or a other major life shift. Helping people in those areas and with the pillars of movement, nutrition, and mindset, like just realizing and making those things a priority and the focus of my business has felt so good. So being really clear in that. Again, I know in one of the questions previously, I talked about like just getting QuickBooks, a lot of clarity to finances in my business and where is money going? Where do I not want it to be going? Where do I want it to focus on? That has helped so much professionally. Having a process of tracking, and I have kind of like a list of the things that I want to track, but doing that on a monthly basis has been really eye opening for me and helps me so much. Um, Being in an office space to see clients and that kind of shifting throughout this year of where that office space was, that has felt really good professionally to be somewhere that I really feel the energy that I'm wanting for the supportiveness of my business. So, those are some of the big things, I guess, professionally that have happened over 2025 where I've seen so much professional growth. So, all right, time to pause if you want to fill out yours and meet me back here when you're ready for the next one. Okay, so the next one is gratitude. What are you grateful for in the past year? Who or what made a positive impact on your life? So, gratitude is one of those things that I feel like can be looked at in a harsh way if we don't also know that we can have gratitude and grief together, or gratitude and wanting things to be different all at the same time. We can allow for both. And so focusing on gratitude though can is so important because when we do that, we can create more abundance in our life. So looking back through 2025, what are some moments that stick out to you that you are really grateful for? You know, again, some of these might overlap and be a repeat of some of the previous questions, and that's okay. They're going to show up in different ways, but I'm really grateful for the clients that I have. I am so honored when people choose to allow me to help guide them um, down a path to create more of what they want in their life. It's such an honor, and I feel so fortunate that that is my job. Like, how cool is that? I'm so grateful for my family and specifically being a grandma. being a mom to adults who are just so fun to be around and getting to spend as much time with them as possible, um, making those things happen, making those connections happen. I'm so grateful for. I'm grateful for my marriage. My husband, Seth, is the biggest supporter for me, and he just has my back through everything and shows up for me in ways that I cannot even describe here and give it as much, what's the word I'm looking for? Justice as as he does. I'm thankful for my parents and to have them in my life and to be, you know, very active in their lives. Um, Again, there's so much I could go on and on about, but just to give you an idea of just going through those kind of people, places, moments, events in your life and thinking about what just makes you smile and allowing it to bring a smile to your face as you remember those. Okay, so you can pause here if you want to fill out the rest of the gratitude piece. The next thing is going to be self care and well being. How did you prioritize self care and well being this past year? What activities brought you joy and relaxation? So, looking through this past year and thinking about how did you care for yourself? Maybe looking at how did you care for yourself, body, mind, and spirit? What are ways that you showed up for yourselves? What activities did bring you that joy and relaxation and care? And so maybe that's things like, for myself, making walking a priority, getting in more steps, taking time, working on my evening routine, working on my sleep. I spent a lot of time trying to get better sleep this year. And I feel like I'm in a really good spot with that now, where at the beginning of the year and for the majority of the year, I was not in a good spot and I wasn't getting enough sleep. So, knowing how important that was, and then focusing on that helped me a lot. So, anyways, going through self care and well being, how did you care for yourself? Okay, if you want to pause that and come back when you're ready. Okay, the next one is relationships. How have relationships evolved or changed over the year? Is there anything you'd like to improve in your connection with others? So again, you're going to might find some overlap here, and that's completely fine. But going through the relationships, those important relationships in your life, where have things evolved and changed, and where would you like there to be improvement in there? I talked a little bit about that before in the previous question, but just really kind of going through those key relationships in your life and how are they? Do a little evaluation on them. You can pause and come back. Okay. Now, looking at goals and accomplishments. So, if you set goals at the beginning of the year, maybe like bringing those out, um, did you achieve them? How have your priorities or aspirations shifted? Are there some things you wanted to accomplish but didn't? So I think that it can be really helpful to just take, again, a non judgmental look at this and to know where do you stand in what you wanted to accomplish. And if there were things that you didn't accomplish that you wanted to, like what held you back from there? Again, doing this with curiosity and awareness can help you moving forward. So taking a moment to think about that and writing that out. Now, I will be doing a workshop here that I would love for you to attend. There's this little side note here that it's setting holistic goals for 2026. And I'm going to be doing that Wednesday, January 7th at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time on Zoom. And in the show notes, you can find how to sign up for that. And I will tell you, this workshop will help you so much because there's also plans within this workshop that I'll talk about then on how to help moving towards your goal and doing this reflection piece on an ongoing basis. And I promise you, those things will help you in achieving what you want to achieve. But as we're looking right now, did you achieve the goals you set out at the beginning of the year? And again, releasing judgment, bringing in curiosity. As I look through my holistic goal setting from the beginning of the year, I see a lot of things that I did accomplish, and I see things that I didn't. And so I think going through this and just being very curious about what held me back if I didn't achieve something. And if I did, like what helped me do that? Again, this reflection piece is so important because it can help you know in the future how to set things up that you want to do if you ask yourself these questions. What helped me and what held me back? So, yeah. So take a peek at that for yourself. And if you want to pause this and then come on back. Okay. So the next thing is going to be mindset. Mindset is such an important piece to our health and to our life. So asking yourself, how has your mindset evolved throughout this year? Have there been any shifts in your perspective? This is so important to check in with because our mindset controls so much. And so getting aware of like what are our thoughts? What is that mindset that we have? And what ways that did we evolve over the year? And how has that shifted perspective in life? So going through mindset, I think some of the things that are so important for me are my journaling practice because my journaling practice helps me to see and bring awareness to what's actually happening in my life. Um, and reviewing that each week. So every Sunday, and this is something we do within my membership, is every Sunday we do a reflection on the past week. That practice has helped me shift and change in a positive way in my mindset so much. Being very curious with my thoughts. If I think something, if it has a mean undertone to myself, I'm much more able to be very curious as to like what that thought is there for. Is it helping me? Is it holding me back? And if it's not helping me, I get curious about why am I allowing it? Those things have been really, really helpful with my mindset this year. So you can pause it, think about this for yourself, and then come on back. Okay. The next thing is going to be intentions. This is going to be kind of the last reflection prompt that we're going to do in this podcast, but our intentions for the future. What themes would you like to carry into 2026? How can you build on your reflections to help shape your future? Thinking about if you create a word of the year, do you have anything in mind? Um, what's something that could help drive you to where you want to be in this next year? Using some of these reflection prompts, just going through those, coming to the parts that where you had the challenges and what you learned from them. What went well? What was energizing? What was draining? How do you want to move forward to 2026 to make it a year that you feel good about? So, if you're wondering, okay, what do I do now? Where do I go from here? Take this reflection and bring it with you to my workshop. I'm going to be doing holistic goal setting for 2026, and it's going to be Wednesday, January 7th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And see the show notes for how to register and bring these with you because this will help you in creating the year that you want. There's other ways to work together. I have a membership that we do a lot of this throughout the whole year. We do a lot of reflection, a lot of work on goals and creating what we want in our life. That's such a wonderful way to have this practice with you each day, each week, each month, so that you don't get to the end of the month and have to really wonder, what did I even want to do this year? You know it because we're talking about it a lot. Um, I do have some open slots for clients. If you wanted more one on one help with this, please reach out and start with a 2 session package where we do the first session as an assessment on where you're at right now, where do you want to go, and the second session as a plan, a comprehensive plan about how to make what you want to have happening. So if you're wondering where to go from here, there are a few options to help you with your next steps. Okay, this podcast was a little longer than my normal ones, but I am really excited. If you can't tell, reflection is so energizing to me because it's where we get to see the lessons and it's where we get to know what we need to know to move forward. All right, I'd love to see you at the workshop, in my membership, in a one-on-one. I'm honored that you are still here listening to this about the reflections, and thank you so much. I hope that this week, as you close out 2025, is a great one for you. All right, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for listening to the Love Your Real Life podcast. I hope that today's episode was just what you needed. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're looking for more support, check out the show notes for how to connect. Remember, no matter what your story holds, you are worthy of living a life that you love. Talk to you soon.